Hi everyone, welcome to my reading vlog for the month of July. And this month I'm going to do something a little different. I kind of wanted to do my reading in chronological order. So after every week, I think I'm going to talk about what I read that week if I don't think I'm going to read more of that series in the month. What prompted this is me going to the library and knowing that I have to finish these series in a timely manner and I have to return them, so I won't have them physically to talk about. So that's why I wanted to do it this way. So let me know if you like this or not. I'll go back to how I did it before if not. But yeah, so the first thing I read this month was I Think Our Son is Gay, and this volume was really good. I really liked everything that is discussed in this. It is about a mom, and she thinks her son is gay, but he hasn't come out to her. So she's not pushing the issue. She's not asking him outright. She's kind of just standing in the background, supporting him, kind of poking a little fun. Like, he'll be like, oh, when I get a boyfriend, and then he's like, oh, I mean girlfriend, whatever, and she's just like laughing it off, trying not to make him feel uncomfortable, trying to make him feel like he could open up to her. It's really sweet. I really like it. And the dad in this is slightly homophobic, so just know that going into this. But I'm really excited for volume 2. I think it comes out quite soon. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Even though it looks pretty skinny, it was a good length, and this is a 4-com manga. So yeah, I really like this. I really enjoyed this. I highly recommend. And then kind of in the same vein, I got this from the library, and this was the whole series of My Brother's Husband. So this series is about a Japanese man and his daughter who is divorced and his wife doesn't live with them, but he had a twin brother who moved to Canada and they kind of lost all contact. They weren't super close, and in Canada, the twin brother married this guy, Mike. And then the brother in Canada ended up dying, and then the husband, Mike, came to Japan to kind of learn about his husband's culture, family, etc., because he was pretty much not in contact with his twin brother. So this story is kind of about reconnecting, what family means, and also it talks a lot about how LGBT plus people are treated in Japan. And I think this is a really special manga because it is from the perspective of a gay man that is the mangaka. So I think that adds a little something extra to this manga. But I will trigger this for homophobia. The twin brother, at first, he does not know what to do. He's like, get away from me, you homo. Like, when Mike comes up and just hugs him when he first comes through the door, which is not something they do in Japan. But of course, the little girl is totally accepting of Mike. She doesn't understand why men can't get married in Japan, why her friend's parents are talking like Mike is a bad influence. It explores a lot of themes like that. So I'm really glad that I read this. I'm not compelled to buy it for my own collection. I'm glad I got it from the library, but I would recommend this. I would give this maybe an 8 out of 10, 7.5, something like that. I don't think it was groundbreaking. Nothing they said was a shock to me. Maybe as someone part of the LGBT plus community, it's not as shocking to me to hear these kinds of things that are going on in Japan. But I think maybe for a Japanese person reading this, it would be much more impactful. So yeah, I would recommend this. I enjoyed reading it. It was a quick read. I read it all in one sitting. These editions are quite nice. I know they have big paperbacks as well. I always saw these in the stores and I always meant to pick it up, but I never did. So yeah, I'm glad I read this. Next, I read volumes 1 and 2 of Life Lessons with Uramichi Onisan, and this one, okay, I'm gonna preface this by saying, unfortunately, I did not really like this. So this is about a man named Uramichi, and he is very, has a twisted view of the world. Very depressing thoughts, very doomsday, etc. But the gag is that he works on a kids' TV show. So I thought this was going to be him at work putting on this persona, this happy-go-lucky, hiding his true feelings, and then at home he was super cynical. But it's not really the case. He's actually talking to these kids about these ideas that he has. When you become an adult, life sucks, etc., etc. And it just, I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. I am not fond of kids at all, but I don't think it's right to crush their dreams when they're little. I think kids should be kids as long as they can, because as someone who raised themselves since I was 13, I think I would have rather lived in ignorance is bliss for a while longer. But yeah, it's just really weird. The humor didn't get to me. I think I was talking to someone in the DMs about it when I posted about this on Instagram, that I don't want to be having an existential crisis when I'm reading my manga. I just want to have fun. The redeeming parts of this was in volume 2, they go on a work trip, and I like seeing the coworkers hanging out because they all have a connection. They all went to the same college, so it's cool to see. And they haven't really delved into why they're all working at this kids TV show, because it did mention that Uramichi was a pro gymnast in the past. but somehow his life went into this, and it's just, I don't know. I think I'm gonna watch the anime and see if I like the direction this goes in, because volume 1 I did not like at all, and then volume 2 I thought was okay. I did laugh at a couple parts, but it just wasn't the parts where the kids were involved. It was like when they're hanging out as coworkers and stuff, because I like seeing stuff about adults. Like, that's why I wanted to buy this, because like maybe if enough people buy this, they'll get that we want stuff with adults, not high schoolers and middle schoolers. Well, maybe I'm the only one who doesn't want that, but I don't want that all the time. I don't want to read about high schoolers that much. Even give us people in college, like, something older than high school or middle school. But yeah, so I thought this was okay. It wasn't the best thing ever. I'm sad because a lot of people like it, and one of my close friends raves about this manga, so she was so excited about the anime coming out. She talks about this all the time, and it just sadly wasn't exactly my taste. So I'm gonna hold off on getting the second volume until I watch some of the anime and see if I like how it goes beyond this second volume. And then the last thing I want to talk about for this segment of the video is Spy Family Volume 5. I mean, what more can I say about Spy Family? It's great, it's wholesome, it's nice, it's funny. Like, I don't know what more to say. I think the same thing I said when I read Volume 4. I mean, it continues to be a great series. There's like a tiny bit of development with the plot, but it's still kind of more slice of life, etc. But there is a new character introduced at the end of Volume 5, and I think I got a comment a long time ago asking me if I shipped Twilight with this character, and like I hadn't seen her, so I didn't know who the heck they were talking about. But now I see why you asked me that. And so far, no, she's creepy. I don't like her at all. She's like this spy, but she wants to get in on the family mission because she wants to marry Twilight. She like has a crush on him, but it's creepy and stalkerish. So no, I don't think I like her very much. As of now, I know she's on the cover of the next volume, so I know she's gonna be involved more. But yeah, interesting development. I didn't think they would be throwing in kind of a love triangle thing, even though Yor and Twilight are not like together, but like they're cohabiting, they're friendly to each other. I think they like each other somewhat, at least as friends by now, even if it is Twilight's fake persona talking. But I think it is genuine. Like the girl said when she saw them as a family, she was like, oh, he's going soft. Like, that's a genuine smile, not just a fake smile. So that was kind of cute to look at that insight. But yeah, that's how I feel about this volume. Love it. Can't wait for the next volume. I think it comes out in like September or October, so a little bit away. And we're catching up to where it is in Japan, so that's kind of concerning. We're gonna be waiting about the same time as they are once we catch up. I think they're up to volume 7. So yeah, excited for that. Love Spy Family, and then I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, hello. It is the second week of July now, so I'll just go over what I read this week. First, I read volume 2 and 3 of Chainsaw Man. This continues to be really good. It's something I didn't expect to like a lot, but I do. I was pretty spoiled for how the series goes, so some of the things that happen in these volumes I wasn't super surprised that happened, but I am more attached to the characters than I thought I would be, and I'm excited to read more once I can track down volume 4, which probably won't be for a while, but I learned my lesson. I need to pre-order this, or get the volumes when I see them and not just wait. I don't know what I was thinking with that. And then next I read volumes 2 through 4 of My Dress Up Darling, and I continue to enjoy this as well. More developments with the main couple, and then there's a new girl introduced and her sister. More cosplay, ecchi shenanigans. The only thing that was kind of is in volume 3 there is like a full nude couple panels involving a minor, so keep that in mind. But other than that, this is pretty much just like panty shots type of thing for the whole ecchi side of it. But I think they have a really nice relationship, the main two characters, and I looked it up and volume 5 doesn't come out until March next year, which is kind of sad. I'll probably have to reread this before then, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend this if you are of age. And then next I read Love Me Love Me Not, and this is a shoujo series by Io Sakizaka. It's the first thing I read of hers, and basically it is about two girls. One girl, Yuna, has kind of fantastical ideas of love. She's an idealist, so she believes in Prince Charming and love at first sight and this amazing romance, while her friend Akari kind of is more of a realist and doesn't necessarily believe in all these things that Yuna does, and just dates due to convenience, or like, yeah, she likes this guy, but she doesn't know if her feelings are really love. So that's how you're introduced to these characters, and then they both have kind of a love interest, and it's already getting pretty messy with kind of a love triangle situation going on. And I don't know if that's common in Sakisaka's works, because I have watched Blue Spring Ride, but I vaguely remember what it was about, and I remember not liking it that much. And I know Strobe Edge is about this girl who likes a guy who already has a girlfriend, so I'm like, I don't know if she like just likes the drama, she likes the tea, she likes the messiness. But I think it was also pretty funny. I laughed out loud at a couple parts, so I am looking to get more of this. I really enjoyed reading this in Spanish as well. It was just I couldn't just like the imagining these characters speaking in Spanish is just so funny to me. But anyways, like I said, I am looking to get more of this. I'll probably pick it up if I see it in stores or something. Next on the shoujo train, I read the first volume of Hatsuharu, and this one I would say is kind of meh. I barely remember what it was about, even though I read it a couple days ago. I think it's like this guy who's really popular. He's a playboy. All the girls like him. He always dates, always has a girlfriend. And one day his childhood friend comes and beats him up because he rejected her best friend. And she's like trying to get revenge. It's like, how dare you reject my best friend so coldly, blah, blah, blah. And then of course, this knocks him upside the head and all of a sudden he's in love with this friend that beat him up. So it's like a 180 shift in his personality to being this guy who's infatuated with her. I think this is kind of interesting because it is from the male's perspective and you don't know what the girl is thinking, but just because it's from a guy's perspective doesn't mean the story can just be the same old blah blah shoujo romance, which it is setting up to be in my opinion. So I don't know, I might pick up the second volume if I see it around or it's on sale, but this wasn't something I was completely drawn into. Like Love Me, Love Me Not, I was definitely more engaged in that one and wanting to see what happens next. And then I read volumes 1 through 5 of his favorite, and this one is about, again, a popular guy, all the girls love him, he's the prince of the school, blah blah blah, and then there's this kid who's quote ugly and kind of an outcast. All his friends are like the ugly group of guys, but of course this popular guy is totally in love with this ugly guy. I'm just gonna say ugly because that's how he refers to himself in this. But basically they do have a connection from the past, which is why the popular guy likes the ugly guy, even though the ugly guy doesn't really remember this thing that happened in the past. So that's the basic premise. But I would say the beginning is a little weird. Like, they set up a lot of comedy moments, and the popular guy is like a self-proclaimed sadist, which is like, okay, you're in high school. But it is explored why he is that way, kind of in the later volumes 4 and 5. It goes into his childhood trauma and some things that he has to deal with in his life, which makes it more interesting. I do enjoy these latter volumes more, and that's why I would think about getting more volumes of this. Like I said, in the beginning I was kind of like, whatever, this is not really my type of humor, I'm not laughing, I don't think this is funny, it's kind of plain, it's kind of boring. And then they kind of switched the tone a little bit, which I enjoyed more. But I also don't like when things like mental health are used as a plot device, kind of, and then are never mentioned again. It's like, oh, this guy's an asshole because he has trauma, and then they just don't explore that further. I don't think it's helpful when that is put in just like any media in general, and then not talked about again. But it is setting up to explore those themes more, which I am interested in. That makes me more interested in the series than just a basic popular guy, unpopular guy trope. Regarding the rating on this, it is older teen, and any of the sexual content is implied. It'll like start, and then it's like time skips to the present, to the aftermath. So I wouldn't say you have to be 18 to read this, even though if you saw my shopping vlog, the store that I bought these did mark it as 18 plus, so that was interesting experience when I bought those, so check out that video if you want to hear more. But yeah, I think this was okay. A little bit of an exploration into what Sublime manga has to offer, because I don't have a lot of titles from them, because a lot of them scare me, to be honest. But yeah, I think this was okay. It was good, it was cute. I read it all in one sitting, so I mean, that must mean I was a little interested in it. And then the last thing I read this week was volumes 1 and 2 of Ranma 1/2. I'm not sure if these are omnibus or what. These are really old editions I got from the library. And essentially this story is about a guy named Ranma and his dad, and they fall into this cursed spring that turns Ranma into a girl when he is splashed with hot water, and his dad turns into a panda. And then these two go to Japan to meet up with Renma's fiance and her family. So they're living with his fiance and the family. It's an arranged marriage situation, so some of the plot premises are Renma and his fiance trying to get along. They don't really get along, and you see their romance blossom a little bit. But it's also about Ranma and his dad trying to figure out how to break this curse / how to live in these situations. And that was kind of the premise that I was most concerned about when starting this, the whole like gender swapping thing with the water. But so far it's not terrible coming from a cis woman's perspective though, so take that with a grain of salt. But really the hallmark of this series is the art. I love the art. This is the first thing I've read from Rumiko Takahashi, and her art doesn't disappoint. I really like it. Even though, even in the second volume, this story is pretty repetitive already. There's like two people that challenge his fiance Akane for him, because some people think Ranma is a girl, some people think he's a boy, and it's just all mixed up. People are fighting over like his girl form for her love, and then also for his boy form for his love, and it's just like Ranma's suitors fighting, pretty much. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I think it was okay. I don't know if I'll continue this. Maybe if I find another volume at the library. It kind of left off on a cliffhanger, but I'm not like jumping out of my seat to figure out what happens next, you know? So yeah, I thought overall this was okay. I'm more willing to try some of Takahashi's other works. I do have Miss Nikoku and the first 2 volumes of Inuyasha right now, so I'll update on that when I read those. Okay, we are back again with another portion of this reading log, and first let's start out with this one, The Bride Was a Boy. This is a autobiographical story by the author Chi, and it details their transition to a woman and basically just the story of meeting their now husband, the marriage process, legally changing her gender, surgery, stuff like that. So this is more of an informative story, but she does make it clear to take it with a grain of salt because this is just her experience. But it is interesting to see the process of transitioning in Japan and like the stigmas attached to it and the author's journey. So yeah, like it has a couple of panels that are pretty informational. And like I said, this only reflects one person's experience, but I think it was really cute. It was pretty good. The art style is quite simple, of course, this chibi style, and I'm glad that I picked this up from the library. I don't think I'll be buying this on my own, but I'm glad that I read this. Next, I read the first volume of Hikaru no Go, which was recommended by so many of y'all for me to pick up, and I really liked this first volume. I thought it was interesting. The only knowledge I have about Go is from Komugi from Hunter x Hunter, so I don't know how the game works or anything, and I think that in the future it's going to teach you a little more how to play Go, but that's not the aspect of the story I'm really interested in. I like anything reminiscent of a sports manga, and this is kind of like that. Some people would consider games sports, but basically the story is about this kid. He's like in 6th grade and he gets, I wouldn't say possessed, but possessed basically by the spirit of Go. This spirit from like ancient times who was like the emperor's Go advisor or something like that. Back in the past, they get killed wrongfully, so they come back to haunt or whatever. Not really haunt, just they want to play Go again. So for some reason, this little boy has been possessed by the spirit and he doesn't know how to play Go. He doesn't know nothing about Go. But the spirit kind of can advise him in his mind. So he goes to like this tournament and beats this like master Go player, and everyone's like, who the heck is this? So that's how it starts. And I can see him wanting to actually learn Go on his own in the future. I don't know exactly how this story will go, but it was pretty interesting. I think I'll pick up more volumes from the library or buy some if I can find them, but I really like this. And then next, I read the first omnibus of High School Debut. This story was pretty interesting. It's by the same author as my love story, so I was totally interested in this. And I would say it didn't disappoint. It's about a girl who enters high school, she wants a boyfriend, but she like fails to get any guy's attention. Basically, she tries too hard. She dresses up in all the fashions that they say in those teeny magazines that will attract a boy, and like she just combines them all and it just looks a hot mess. She is not herself. Like she's very sporty, more of a tomboy, but she tries to act like girly and demure and shy like all these magazines tell her to, but it's not working. So she meets this guy and he's a very popular guy. All the girls like him, but he doesn't like the attention. He doesn't want to go out with anyone. He's kind of tired of the whole girls fawning over him thing. So she sees him getting confessed to and is like, how can I get that to happen to me, blah blah blah, will you be my coach, like your coach of love? And he's like, what the heck? But then he agrees, and then his one condition is that she doesn't fall in love with him. And of course, this is a shoujo manga, what do you think's gonna happen? She falls in love with him. That doesn't happen right away, so I think they have a good dynamic. It's kind of like a teasing-ish dynamic, because obviously he knows that like she's trying so hard to get a boyfriend, and he kind of like makes fun of her fashion and whatever, but it's all lighthearted. I think this really reminds me of Lovely Complex, so I really like it. The main character is a lot like Risa. She even looks like her. So yeah, I actually bought the rest of this series. I'm excited to continue. I just didn't have time to this month because I obviously read a lot of other things. Okay, next I read the first volume of Even Though We're Adults. And this one, I will trigger it for cheating. There is cheating in here. I know a couple people have picked this up accidentally without knowing that, but there is cheating in here. So this story is about 2 adult women. One works at a bar, one comes into the bar, they have an instant connection, steamy exchange, and then the next time they meet, she reveals that she has a husband. So that sparks the whole moral dilemma of, okay, so what do we do now? And this does cover some very like hard to talk about topics in media that I appreciate, and even though I obviously do not condone cheating in real life, I think this is an interesting exploration in themes such as compet and just like lesbian relationships in general. Like you could say that this character is biphobic because she expresses that every bi woman she's dated has dumped her for a man, and I think that is a very real experience that happens, and she also talks about how she's kind of been girls' secret and stuff like that because she is very openly lesbian, and this lady is struggling with her feelings. It kind of introduces the fact that she has always had a crush on like her teacher growing up that was a female and stuff like that, but she got married in her 30s kind of to a guy that she thought was nice. She liked him, all right. She doesn't know if she's in love with him, but they got married because they're getting older, and she doesn't plan to have kids or anything, but they seem like they're in a pretty happy relationship. But they act more like best friends type of situation. So that's why her judgment is kind of clouded with this, and she does tell her husband what she's doing. So it's not like this is secret. It's not like she's hiding away, and the husband actually meets her, and he is like the most morally sound character of them all. I feel actually quite bad for him. I'm not rooting for this couple. You don't like these characters. Like, she's the one cheating on her husband, so automatically she's not really the most favorite character. But even though she is, quote, quote, could be the victim, she's also an adult that's aware of the situation and is continuing with the situation. So I can't see a happy ending in sight for this. It's gonna be bittersweet, but Takako Shimura is a very interesting mangaka. People say that she has fallen off since Sweet Blue Flowers, and a lot of her works have been very interesting to say the least, and I kind of agree with that fact, as this is the first work that's even been published in English since Sweet Blue Flowers, which was years and years ago. So yeah, she's not afraid to talk about triggering or just uncomfortable topics. And I think media is the way to explore those topics in a more healthy way. Obviously, you don't want these situations to be happening in real life, but they do happen, and bringing awareness to them and just in an artistic way, I think is a healthy way to process some of these things. So I did pick up the second volume of this. It was interesting enough. Like I said, I'm not here for the romance. I'm not here for the tea, the messiness, really. I'm just interested. It's interesting. And I like the way that the mangaka is approaching this. There's like a certain delicacy, like you know that it's wrong. It's not painting this as an ideal or happy situation, which I appreciate. So yeah, I'm excited to read more of this. We'll see how it goes. And then next, I reread volumes 10 through 14 of Dr. Stone, and then I read 15 and 16 for the first time. I haven't read Dr. Stone in a while. I think the last time I read this was in November, and then I was letting some like volumes stock up, and I watched the second season of the anime, and I was like, oh yeah, I love Dr. Stone. Why did I take a break from that? So I decided to read these two volumes, and I think I mentioned that I have volume 17 already, but I decided to hold off on that for a little bit. But yeah, I love Dr. Stone. It's still continuing in a direction that I like. You can see a certain character on the cover of this, kind of a spoiler, and the arc with this character is kind of over now, and they're starting on a new adventure. I like the direction it's going in. They're still trying to find the mystery, etc. I like the new characters, I like the old characters, I like the story. What more can I say? I like the art. Unless Dr. Stone does some major weird twist or something, I think I'm always gonna like it, so that's my thoughts on that. And then on Instagram, I'm participating in the Manga Olympics reading challenge hosted by Christy Liu, and there's different categories of reading. It's not like a super strict challenge or anything, but one of them was a manga recommended by a manga creator, and Christy Liu loves Waiting for Spring, so I decided to pick up the first volume and read it, and I really like this. The premise is this shy girl, she has no friends, she works at a cafe, and then there's this group of 4 guys from the basketball team who are super popular, all the girls like them, and they go into this cafe because one of the members of the basketball team has a crush on the girl's coworker. So at first, these guys are admittedly kind of assholes to the main character. Like, they use her to practice confessing for the coworker that they actually want to confess to, and they kind of make fun of her. They're like, haha, why did you think that we would actually confess to you? Like, you're not a college student, hot, sexy, whatever. And they're pretty mean to her. Like, you don't like these guys at first, but as time goes on, they develop a relationship with her, and they kind of bring her into their friend group, so it turns more into, like, friendly, brotherly teasing as time goes on, but at first, it's like, dang, you guys left a bad impression. But I can see definite character growth in the future, so I said F it, and I bought the rest of this series, so you'll be seeing this in the near future, and I'm glad I picked it up. I've always been interested in this because it's a shoujo, but it has basketball, so if a shoujo can have sports in it, I think that'll take it to the next level for me, since I'm not a huge shoujo fan anyway. I'm very picky with the romance, so if they can have sports in there some way, I'm probably gonna be hooked. So yeah, I like this, and I'm gonna continue with this. And then the next thing I read for the challenge was like something out of your comfort zone, I think the category was, and of course, bloody action seinen is not my forte, so I read the first 2 volumes of Blade of the Immortal. And I will say, I really like the characters, and the art is gorgeous, but the story was so slow. I was actually confused in the beginning. I had to reread the first volume, actually, and the story's already kind of repetitive. Like, it's about this guy who is cursed to be immortal because he killed a bunch of people when he was serving under, I think it was the emperor. So he killed a bunch of innocent people. And when he realizes that, he quits, and now he is cursed, and he proposes to the old woman that cursed him, she's like 800 years old, that if he kills 1,000 criminals and bad guys, that the curse can be lifted, and she agrees. So the premise of the story is that he needs to kill 1,000 bad guys, and he meets this girl who is trying to avenge her family because this group of bandits killed her father and R-worded her mother. So he agrees to help her, and they're on their journey to kill these bandits, but also like 1,000 other dudes. And I don't know if you can already tell, but that plot seems a little repetitive to me. I mean, so far he's met another dude that's also immortal and they killed him. They haven't met the bandits yet. They're getting closer to them. I don't know if that's gonna be the whole plot of the story, is to get revenge for her family, because I think there's like 30 volumes. I have 12 volumes, and I think I'm gonna try a couple more volumes, but for now, this is not really my thing. Not so much the fact that it's seinen, action, bloody, whatever, it's just the story was just not captivating to me, especially in this first volume. I was like, what is this? I don't care about this. But the characters are pretty endearing. I like the two main characters. I think they have a good brother-sister relationship. He agrees to help her because she looks like his sister that he accidentally got killed, so he kind of feels bad about that, so that's part of the reason why he agrees. But yeah, that's all for this week. Hello, welcome to the last clip of July's reading log, and I have a bit more that I did read. I think I've read total now like 70 volumes this month, which is more than I anticipated, but you know what? I'm happy to be reading more in my collection because at the rate that I buy stuff, I should be reading this much. But first, I read something that a lot of y'all recommended, Black Clover Volume 1, and I like this more than I thought I would. Basically, it's about this kid named Asta, and he wants to become the Wizard King, but he doesn't have any magic. Like, most of the kids are born with magic, and when they're 15, they get kind of like this spellbook thing, and he ends up getting one that's kind of messed up, and the story goes from there. It was pretty interesting. I really liked the main two characters. They were like really endearing, which is I was surprised about, because I know a lot of people who like the anime or have dropped the anime say that Asta is like really annoying. And he kind of just reminded me of Hinata from Haikyuu, so if you don't like those kind of characters, you won't like him, but I liked it. But the thing is, I'm not ready to commit to collecting another long series, so I think I'm gonna read this digitally, or I'm gonna switch over to the anime. I'm not sure yet, because this was such a random pickup. I just remembered I said that I wanted to try it in my reacting to your collections video, and then so many people said it's so good to try it, and I was like, okay, I saw it at the store. But yeah, I will read more of this eventually, but maybe not right now. Next, I read the second volume of The Girl with the Sampaku Eyes. The first volume of this I thought was okay, and the second volume of this I also thought was okay. Nothing super special, but the art in this is so gorgeous. I really love it, and I love the color. Like, it just makes it so much better, even though the story is super basic and kind of lame, to be honest. It's just the basic school festival, and then the next volume is gonna be the school trip. Like, they already teased it. But you know what? Sometimes you gotta get some of that cliche, basic plot, but with good art. You know, sometimes you just want something like that. And this is that for me. And then next, I read the first 4 volumes of Blue Flag. Yes, I finally started it. And I was missing, I think, volumes 6 and 8, and I ordered those immediately so I can binge the rest once those come in. And you know what? This does live up to the hype so far for me. The twist at the end of volume 1 got me, and then every volume after that has had a cliffhanger at the end. Like, what the heck? I've had to keep going. Like, I read all these in one sitting, and then I realized I didn't have volume 6, so I was like, I cannot read 5 because it's gonna be another cliffhanger. But yeah, I think that this story, like other people have said, the characters are very relatable. Their struggles are relatable, especially some of the particular characters that are struggling with like their sexuality. I relate to a lot, so I'm really glad that I picked this up and read it. But the only thing that I'll say about this is everyone says that the ending is not that good, and it's kind of put like a damper on my reading. Like, I'm kind of setting myself up for the failure that comes, which kind of sucks. Like, I wish I didn't know anything about the ending or what people say. I know some people say it's good, but like a lot of people say it's meh, so I feel like I don't enjoy it as much as I could, because I'm like telling myself like, oh, don't get too attached to the characters, blah blah blah, they're not gonna get a super happy ending. Like, I don't know what the ending is, but like people have put kind of me in like a pessimistic mood about this, which kind of sucks. That's all I want to say about that. But I am excited to continue and form my own opinions about the ending. That'll probably be next month's reading log. And then the majority of what I read this month is the whole 20th Century Boys and 21st Century Boys. I don't know what I can say. Like, I did talk about this on my Instagram. I've been like kind of documenting my journey of it on there, and people have been asking me if I'll do a full review now that I've finished it, and I don't think I can do this series justice. Like, anything that I can say is gonna sound stupid in comparison to how good this is. Plus, I think it's better for you to go in almost blind with this, since it is a mystery story. Anything that I say could be a spoiler. But basically, it's about this group of friends who used to play in this little fort in their town, and they made this book called The Book of Prophecy, which is just kids' stories, like about the world ending and their heroes, and there's gonna be a giant robot that crushes the city, and they're gonna save the city. And then it skips to the future when they're adults, and suddenly all the things that are in this book of prophecy are coming true. So that's the basis of the mystery. I'm not gonna say anything more than that. But when I finished the main series, I gave it an 8 out of 10. But then once you read the epilogue, where a lot of the loose ends are tied up, I bumped it up to a 9 out of 10. And also, if you've read this, I will link in the description a video of Naoki Urasawa singing the freaking Guralala Suralala song. And it made me cry. Like, I was looking up to see what the song would sound like, and I was expecting to find like a fan interpretation, but the whole damn mangaka was right there singing it, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is exactly what it would sound like. But yeah, only if you've read the series, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm really glad I read this. This is the first work I've read of Naoki Urasawa. I wanted to get Pluto first, but I can't find some of the volumes anywhere. And I have the first volume of Monster, but I legit just finished this, and I need to take a break from the heavy, mind-encompassing stuff like brain power usage. Because the reason I did read this all in like a week pretty much was because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of plot points, there's a lot of characters, and if I took a break from this, I would have forgotten so much stuff. So I think the only way to read the series is to just binge it all the way through if you can get your hands on all the volumes at once. But again, I'm really glad I read this. I've been itching to read more of like a mystery series. I haven't read one in a while. I watch more anime that's kind of more psychological thriller stuff, but now I want to look into more series. So if you know any good mystery series that is not like horror, let me know. Like if it's more suspenseful than thriller, then that's fine, but like it was good to get my brain working a little bit with this series, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's all I read for this month. Also, I wanted to mention that I have a Right Stuff affiliate link now. I'll put it in the description if you want to use that. I know the sale's almost over, but it's there if y'all want to. And yeah, so stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.